Hello, my friends, family, dear colleagues. Since many people are suffering from elevated levels of blood sugar, there are always questions being asked about, well, what to do in the case of fasting. Because if you want to do really fast cleansing, speed up the healing process, one way to do this is simply going into fasting mode for extended period of time. For example, 2 weeks or 3 weeks, not eating, just not to do dry fast, but to do fasting with plasma, because this way, what is being achieved? When you do not eat, you don't consume anything, then you are absolutely sure that there is no toxic element coming into your body from the outside. And of course, if you drink correctly, drink your plasma, drink the best water you can get, structure it, and put sea salt in it or dilute seawater. And when you drink this, then you are allowing your body to raise the plasma level, to put it in a proper level where it should be in the first place. And then if your blood is toxic, you are going to have elimination of toxic elements. Now, depending on the toxicity of level of toxicity of the blood, you are going to have different symptoms. And since normally we have quite toxic blood because our plasma levels are always low, because we are being instructed not to take salt and or take it just with absolute minimum, and we do not really pay attention how much water we drink. So normally our plasma levels, our blood level is low, and blood is more concentrated. And as soon as the plasma level rises, the body finds opportunity to cleanse, because it cannot cleanse, it cannot waste water when it is water deprived or insufficient. So this is the main reason why we do not cleanse, because we simply are low on plasma. And plasma is not water, it is water with minerals, seawater. So, since you don't eat, but you raise plasma levels, now definitely you are going to go in a detox. And very quickly, you will be eliminating the toxins because you are not eating anything, so you're not bringing more toxins in. But still, you have to keep in mind that it will take certain amount of time for blood to cleanse itself to the level that will be acceptable to our cells to engage the hydration pump, the osmotic system. Some argue it doesn't exist. Well, I argue it does, and I have quite a bit experience with it, and I can prove it in many different ways that there is hydration going on through osmotic system. So it takes usually about 3 weeks or a month for blood becomes clean enough for cells to start hydrating. I used to think that if we do not pollute ourselves, that we will cleanse faster. So maybe in 10 days we can cleanse the blood. But with several clients I have had who did decide to take a longer fast, I have noticed that still, eating and not eating, it will take approximately 3 weeks. for blood to be clean enough so the cells start to hydrate. Why? Because we have a very strong cleansing system that is based on kidneys as the first level, then mucosal tissue as the second and the strongest level, because colon is actually our biggest detox valve, and then skin. So if you raise a plasma level, then it doesn't matter how toxic is the blood, you will have the optimal cleanse going on, taking all three systems if necessary, two or just one system, if the toxicity level is low. So now if you are eating and still bringing toxic elements during the blood detox time, well, it just means that additional system will be involved and you will be cleansing basically the same speed. This is why I also allow people who are medicated to continue using their medication during part of the first beginnings of cleansing, because it doesn't really make difference for the body. It will just eliminate these toxins, and maybe you will have a little stronger detox symptoms, but you will be eliminating almost in the same speed your blood toxins as if you would be fasting. So here we don't have to worry much about fasting when we are talking about Cell Healers protocol. The trick comes in the second part when we are talking about cellular fasting, because now when cells see that the plasma, the environment they are living in, is clean of toxic element that can harm them, then they will engage the osmotic pumps. They start the production of potassium and start absorbing higher amounts of plasma. And this enables them to cleanse, and to cleanse really thoroughly and get all the metals out and all the jab stuff that were pushed in the body and stored in cells. It all will come out. Now, as soon as these toxins start coming out, since they are cellular toxins, which cells now understand, well, cells will refuse to bring them in, and it will prevent further hydration until the toxicity is eliminating. But if we are continuing eating or continuing being medicated, now when blood basically is clean and it can be used for hydration, well, cells will, with their receptors, they will be aware of these toxic elements, being it medicinal remedies, medications you are taking, or toxic elements from your food, which mostly are included in the plants. It's not the animal problem, it is the plant problem. So there will not be any hydration or cellular cleansing, because you are bringing these elements. Could be honest mistake, we don't know, because we are being told garlic is excellent. Now the craze is turmeric. Keeps you young, look, keeps you great skin, gives you energy. Well, I will address turmeric probably separately, just because many people are now wasting their money buying these supplements, thinking that they are helping themselves while actually they are harming themselves. Okay, so when these medicinal remedies hit our bloodstream, our cells close down. And unfortunately, a lot of spices have medicinal properties. And don't forget the usual culprits, which are the alcohol, nicotine, and caffeine. theanine as well. Can have chocolate, cacao, same as coffee, if you want to hydrate on cellular level. So taking in consideration that the cells need pristine blood to hydrate, and that it is quite tricky if you don't understand the food correctly, what you can eat and what you cannot eat when you want to hydrate on cellular level, then if you are fasting, well, you have no problem. But this is why it is important to have a long fast. And now especially the third week, when usually said, okay, I'm eating now, well, this is actually when you should not be eating. This is actually when it would benefit you the most if you don't eat. So actually it would be even better if you start your fast the third week of hydration. And then you start, okay, now I'm not gonna eat and I will just hydrate. This actually will be good because if you stop eating carbohydrates when you start your protocol, then you start reprogramming your genes and through them reprogramming your cells to switch their metabolism from sugar to their original calibration of fats. And this way, when you start fasting, you are already adjusted on fats. So your go into fasting is going to be really painless. Yeah. Sometimes I let people go start the protocol with fasting and they don't complain that they are hungry. I said, great. So this way you will switch faster. The only thing is that it's good then to continue with fast longer than 3 weeks. And people that I encourage to start the protocol through fasting is those who are complaining that they are obese and they want to lose weight. So I said, fabulous, because this way you can jumpstart the whole process and kill 2 flies with 1 shot. But it is really important not to poison yourself, not to take toxic elements that are toxic to your cells during cellular hydration process, which is then after the 3rd week of starting the protocol. Since many people have problem with diabetes and are using insulin or pills, metformin and stuff, suppressors of sugar production in our body, well, now they are in difficult situation because their insulin or their pills are being now calibrated to their daily uptake of carbohydrates. Why do you have your blood sugars high in the first place? Because you eat the stuff which you should never be eating. And the stuff is not nectar, is not fructose from fruits, is not lactose from milk. The stuff that makes disequilibrium of our system and havoc and completely changes genetic expression is starch, is non-sweet sugar, glucose, our worst enemy. But then we say, well, how could it be when we make it ourselves? Yeah, we make it. This is why we should not be taking it. And this is why it is by nature separated from animal world, us, by cellulose membrane. It always comes wrapped in cellulose membrane in nature. So no matter what you eat, you never have chance to get in touch with it unless you purposely break this membrane. And we do it by cooking, by heating. cellulose. It bursts. Popcorn, poof, and you got the white stuff. That's your glucose. Same in much smaller scale happens when you're baking potatoes or cooking bananas. So we are not aware of these things because we are being lied to by schools, by professors, by books, because they know nothing. They're just parrots repeating the garbage we are being fed through the manipulating information, manipulating science that is controlled by cabal. Now, so what should we do when we have diabetes and we have to fast, or we want to fast? Well, you have to know right away that sugar will not be coming from the outside. And when you take insulin, you are going to now go into hypoglycemia. Same will happen if you take metformin. So you should never go fasting without having a way of monitoring your blood sugar. And since blood sugar usually rises during the night, and why? If you are not eating, and if I say that sugar comes from the outside, well, you are not eating, so why does it rise during the night? Well, because our bodies are programmed that during the night is a maintenance time. And for this maintenance, we need energy and we need sugar. Why we need sugar? Because maintenance is usually connected with cellular repairs, which need proteins. And protein, base of protein, they are nucleic acids. And nucleic acids are using sugar bonds, okay, glycoside groups. So we need sugar to make proteins. And this is, since maintenance is happening at night, usually there is some sugar being released into the blood more at night than during the day, but also this is why we have the basic sugar levels in our blood, is to create proteins, not as energy source. The only energy source of glucose that we have are in glycogen, and it's a small amount and only for the cells where they need it to react in life-threatening situation, which is the brain and muscles. I explained this in other videos, so we don't waste too much time, you go there. So glycogen is not to give us regular daily energy. It is only for stress. Now, if something has to be repaired, that is very important, and your cells are being calibrated to run on sugar, they cannot produce enough energy now for fixing this stuff. Well, you are going to be waken up at night, hungry as hell, and to go to refrigerator and eat something because you don't have the fuel for this job that your body needs, and it has been shifted to run on sugar. So you will be waking up to go and eat some sugar so the body can energize to do this repair job. So if you have these things happening at night, that you are waking up and you are hungry and you have to eat, something is bad happening in your body and you are glucoholic, your system runs on sugar very strongly, so you are not able to produce enough energy for reparation using your fat, and you have to get waken up and eat something at night. You better change your lifestyle. So, understanding that sugar will not be coming if you stop eating, and you are suffering from high blood sugar levels, so you are being medicated, well, immediately you have to lower down the medication. Well, this is also why doctor tells you, if they give you insulin, they say, okay, but you have to eat this much of bread and this much when, and monitor, and you cannot use insulin without having something to eat. It's always our standard food, carbohydrate. And then if you feel a little lightheaded and you're getting hypoglycemic, make sure you eat some chocolate, piece of bread, of course. Well, they are giving you antidote and poison at the same time, and balance one and the other. Stupid. But who's thinking? So now when you go and you know these things, so at night, since you know that sugar will be rising during the night, especially morning hours, well, you check your blood sugar. If the blood sugar has been higher, let's say between 100 or 120, then if normally you would use 6 or well, it's always more, if you would use 12 units of long-lasting insulin, then this time, since you are not going to be eating, or you didn't eat, so there is no additional sugar that is coming in. So now you don't use 11 units. You cut it in half, you use 6. If you don't do this, you are going to go into hypoglycemia. And you wake up and you will need to eat something, you get dizzy, drowsy. So you balance it. And this is the adjustment time, because you will have several days when you are going to have to play, because now the sugar is not coming, the glucose is not coming. So, and your body is not working well on fat. So you will be eating now animal food with animal fats, and sugar is going to be playing crazy things, because it is going to go into starvation mode, and whenever it goes into starvation mode, it creates a stress hormones and taps into glycogen levels. It's not important glycogen level in the muscles, but it will affect glycogen level in the liver, and liver is the general donor, so it will spill the glucose into the bloodstream, raising your sugar levels. So the adjustments will have to be done daily, morning and night. You have to monitor your sugar and give half of what normally you would do, and then wait for next day, next morning. What happened? Was the sugar still too high? So then at night you give a little bit more, and wait in the morning to see. You have to now find out what amount of insulin. The insulin is problem. With metformin usually is no problem. If you are just on pills, if you are diabetic too, then don't even worry about it. You just drop the pills, and slowly, yeah, you will have little higher levels at the beginning, but never critical. And then it's going to start dropping and dropping as your body starts arranging and adjusting itself. With insulin, you'll have to tweak it. And you do it by yourself. You just monitor your night, your long lasting, and see in the morning. And actually, now we see that probably it's even better to switch the long lasting and start using it in the morning hours, because then it controls your sugar better during the day, and then during the night you will see where you are at. If your blood sugar levels are too high, well, then you increase the dosage a little bit. If it's low, then you decrease it, and until you stabilize, you find yourself exactly where you are at with your insulin and your own sugar production. And from there on, if you do not eat any carbohydrate, you don't have any access from the outside sugar. In this case, you cannot even eat fruits, even milk, because any kind of a sugar will be absorbed because you have high sugar absorption. And this is what we have to remedy. We have to lower the level of gluten. So it's best to eliminate all the sugars. And even my banana drink, in this case, with diabetic number 1, with insulin dependent, I have just learned through my client that kefir, milk kefir, has way less sugar, natural sugar, than yogurt. If he would put egg and yogurt together, mix it, and coconut oil, and he would drink it, the sugar goes up. If he takes kefir and egg and coconut oil, sugar doesn't go up. Okay, so that's another information. So for diabetic with insulin, maybe switch from yogurt to kefir, milk kefir. And also don't do banana at the beginning, because this way, when there is no need for transporting mechanism of sugar, then again, body does not support what it doesn't need. And it would start cutting down production of gluten. And you give it a time. And as it cuts the production of gluten, and also it self-adjusts, the need for insulin will be dropping. And you will notice that maybe at the beginning you had to use not 11 as normally, but maybe 6 units, maybe 5 units of insulin, long lasting. And then all of a sudden, well, you're getting too low on sugar, so you started dropping and use 4, 3, 2 units, 1 unit. Sometimes maybe don't even use it, and maybe sometimes you have to, because you have to still keep monitoring the sugar until things settle down. And once, when you do not have to use insulin anymore, leave it for a week or so, and then you can incorporate yogurt and see what happens with the sugar. If it doesn't go up, put 1 banana in there, see what happens. Because it all depends on a level of absorption. Because if you go down to the original gluten levels that should be there, then the sugar should not rise much when you take even carbohydrate. The only thing is that when you take carbohydrate, very quickly the cells recognize it, that okay, this is stuff we can use, and they will start absorbing more and more and shooting insulin in the blood, because your sugar level goes higher, and very quickly, because of cellular memory, you will go backwards. So you have to skip, because glucose should never be part of our diet. Never. There is no amount of glucose that should ever come from the outside in a free form. Yeah, you can have potato, you can have bananas, but raw. So this way, the glucose stays in the shell of cellulose and just passes your system, does not get absorbed. So you're eating empty food. All fruits are empty food. So this is the trick with fasting insulin and fasting glucose. We did not know our body. I certainly did not know after I finished medical school, because what we are told is pure baloney. Things don't work the way we are told. Our energy, cellular energy, should never be created through glucose, through sugar, unless we are in stress and we need a little boost. We should be making it from fat. And this is why we have storage of fat. We don't have any storage of glucose other than glycogen for stress situations. But regular life, we should never have insulin in our blood during the daytime and nighttime, unless we are in a stress. So whenever we produce insulin and it's being pumped into the bloodstream, it is because either we are in a stress or we ate it. We ate it in its free form, so we had cooked it. We had Eve giving us the cooked stuff. So this is quite simple, but a little tricky to figure out when you start. Okay, so you have to be careful about it, and yeah, you can get nauseous. If you get nauseous and you start vomiting, well, your sugar levels have jumped, and your natural detox, you are high in plasma, body does not have to hold on tight on plasma, can waste it, and you will vomit and you will urinate sugar out immediately. So it is not life-threatening, but it's not a nice experience. So when you start lowering the sugar, first time checking out, be careful and don't go too steep. You know, don't go to 4 or 3 in sugar. From 11, if that's your normal, go down to 6. If the sugar drops too low, then go to 5. If it is still too high, well, go to 7, 8, and figure it out. Balance it at the beginning before stabilizing it. Then you know, okay, this is now good for me when I'm not eating, when I'm not bringing glucose from the outside. This is how my body works at this moment. I need this and this much of insulin. But continue monitoring it, because as the body stabilizes, it is going to start lowering the sugar, and especially the absorption. And the trick is in the absorption. We have to lower down the GLUT levels to the bare minimum. It may take 3 months, but in many cases I've seen a sugar dropping down within 1 month. Insulin not necessary anymore. But there are some people it takes much longer, especially if they have been damaged through chemical poisons, especially strong antibiotics. So young kids, when they become diabetic, diabetes 1, it's usually cellular damage by antibiotics. And then recovery is much longer. It's a cellular reparation, so it's trickier, but still body does it. Okay, so I think that you have now a little bit more knowledge how to deal with the sugar. Again, if you have a problem, you can always contact me and we go through it together. We'll keep tweaking it until we get it right. But in any way, you will see that you will drop the level of insulin that you need. And this is important because insulin is the stuff that is creating problem of circulation, because the cells, it's abrasive to cells, and cells do reinforce their membrane to guard themselves from it, which causes in time what we call the resistance to insulin, because cells basically make the membranes thicker and thicker and thicker, and this is also what causes then blood circulation problems. And not only blood circulation, because blood vessels are closely impacted by it, but so are all the organs. So most of the chronic problems then on cellular level are related to the insulin, not to the sugar. But you have the higher levels because of insulin, because of higher levels of sugar. So yeah, sugar is there causing this problem, but actual culprit is the insulin. I hope that this had a little bit clarified things. So yes, fasting is great even for diabetics, but in any way, if you go on a self-healers protocol, you have to cut down carbohydrates, not cut down, eliminating them, not cut down in portions. Elimination is the only way. And the same is with cellular toxins if you want to hydrate on cellular level. By drinking less alcohol, by drinking less coffee, you're not achieving absolutely anything. It's nothing or everything. It makes no sense to sell. If there are robbers on the streets and you know that they are there, and if there are 10 of them and one is coming to your house, well, you will do everything exactly the same as if all 10 are coming. You are going to grab your gun, close the door, dial the phone, looking for police. Not, now you know how these idiots against police, this is so stupid, but now you know also why police always comes too late. Because we have to be able to protect ourselves. Unfortunately, in Europe, if you harm intruder, you are culpable. If he harms you, well, he is culpable, but he created it. But you cannot even defend yourself. This is so stupid that we accept this. Amazing. Well, it's all changing. Thankfully too. Those who are awake, we have changed the system. And now we are just weathering it out. So, let me know if you want me to address some other topic, hopefully health topic. I don't want to go into politics, because otherwise those who need help with the health will not be able to get it. You know what's happening with censorship. Thank you for being here. Love you all.